And we're back. Looks like we made it. And we're not going anywhere. Salutations, my friends. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of Factions of Freedom. I'm your host, Noisera, Freedom Faction, whichever one you prefer. And this is show number 1624, season 16, episode 24. And I have titled this episode, Mass Conscriptions, Fauci's Fifths, and a New Religious Interface. Yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of crazy things. It literally looks like Fauci got away with lying and murdering millions of people. And Donald Trump is just going to allow it. We're going to be talking about that, him honoring Joe Biden's pardon of Anthony Fauci, them covering up for one another. It blows my mind. You're going to see a couple betrayals this week on the show, but that shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that is a long listener of the show. We've also got Sam Altman of OpenAI openly saying that we have entered the singularity, while we also have Elon Musk saying that in the next 10 years, like, humans will not be in control. So the technocracy is here. The singularity is here. We're getting away with mass murder. 17 to 35 million people murdered by this shot. And we've also got Alex Jones and Rex Jones calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump, with him also alluding to the fact that he may run again in 2028. We've got the butterfly zombie known as Lindsey Graham making an appearance this week on the podcast. It's going to be some pretty cool doom break stuff when we get into it. But man, I tell you, it's just, it's getting wild out there. It's getting crazier. And I don't think it's going to slow down. And I think this is, again, a part of the quantum leap and acceleration that we're supposed to see in threats, adversity, and what we think of as normalcy in life. Okay. And we're at the end of July, more than halfway through 2026, multiple assassination attempts on our president. We're going to be talking about sleeper cells getting activated, over 30 different Minnesota water systems being subject to a cyber attack, places like Plano, Texas, talking about instituting Sharia law. It's like you have to understand the multi-spectrum assault that we are experiencing right now and what this is going to do to the psychological and sociological fabric of society. Okay? Like, it's going to happen. And as the first segment is titled, Mass Conscriptions, they're talking about bringing back the draft. Not even bringing back. They raised the enlistment age to 42. They removed marijuana restrictions, and now they're running simulations for mass conscription. This isn't sensationalism. This isn't me being hyperbolic. This is me saying, have you looked outside your window? Things are getting crazier every single day, and that's not like me being sensationalized. I think, like, personal thought is, I think that some of this Iran war stuff will escalate to a point to where they have to roll out the so-called UFOs. We're hearing about oil shortages and stuff like this. There's no such thing as a water shortage in a world that's made of 70% water. That's all, lies, scarcity, artificial scarcity, and manipulation. And so it's wild to see again the multi-spectrum assault that we're under, and just how, to a larger degree, we are kind of not flat-footed, but not really prepared to deal with what we're about to go through. Right? It's like I was hearing somebody just break down, societal breakdown. I think it was like Matt Bracken. It was either Matt Bracken or Mike Adams was talking about societal breakdown, and how good people with weapons will not be ready to apply the level of pressure and force required as bad and evil people will whenever society breaks down. And this is where warlords are going to come out of, where warlords take over, because right now we're in a sense of stability, decency, and, normalcy, and we see that slipping. And as people begin to become more tribalistic, more thuggish, more violent, more warlord, we have less resources, and society begins to break down. Good people are not going to be able to react as fast to some of these situations as stuff unfolds as evil people will. Like, they'll steal your stuff, okay? And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I should have had a weapon. If you have a life, you're going to be grateful. So I'm just, it's going to be one of those type of episodes. I'm over prepared. I've been doing a lot of posting over there on Instagram and TikTok. We finally had one of our posts hit 100,000 views. We got a couple thousand followers, right? We've been pumping out articles over there on Substack too. And so it's one of those weeks where you're super locked in, right? Super locked in on what's happening, and it's just all going down. And then whenever we get down to the last part of the show, the new religious interface, this is picking up off of a video I did on our Substack that I'll put in the description bar below. It references Diana Pasulka. She's talking about basically religion and how we use that as a way to define what Nathaniel Gillis talks about as the phenomenon, the spiritual aspect of it, right? We get into it. What is the new religious interface? How are we supposed to communicate with these so-called otherworldly beings that are not fully terrestrial or corporeal, right? So it's going to get pretty weird towards the end of the show. We feature stuff like Jack Valet, the Book of Enoch describing the moon as a machine, Colonel John B. Alexander talking about Bob Monroe summoning UFOs. Like, it's wild, because the technocracy is here. And I've said this before in previous episodes, that as we slide into this hyper technotronic, neo-feudalistic future, they have to have a new religion to go with it. As we switch from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, everything's going to get rebranded, everything's going to get rewritten, everything's going to get changed. This is all part of the reset, and so much more. Like, even down to these world wars that are occurring right now with Iran, man. This is World War E. The energy wars, the resource wars. When goods and services don't cross borders, armies do. And that's what you're beginning to see. And so it's just, welcome to 2026. What do you think 2027 is going to look like? Where they are talking about mass conscriptions. And we've played the video clips over here on the show too, of people from Ukraine being forcibly conscripted and thrown as meat into the meat grinder, the war machine. And so, yeah, a pretty interesting episode lined up for you guys. We're going to try to hit it as hard as we can. Not a whole lot of articles, so to speak. We'll be primarily focused whenever we hit the Fauci's 5th segment, but there's just a lot more videos than anything. But before we do, let me go ahead and get this started. Let me do the shill so we can try to keep the lights on over here. If you guys want to support the operation, the best way to do so is to go to patreon.com/noise. Patreon.com/NOIZCE. That's the best way to support us in this current configuration. And I say that because we are currently in the transitional phase into a completely new configuration, as you guys can see. I would highly recommend you guys, if you want the full experience, you may have noticed something different with your podcast feed, go over there to Substack, and we'll jump over there shortly. But patreon.com/NOIZCE, that's going to be your key that's going to unlock everything that we're doing. With Substack, with the operation, with the website, with the store, get up over there. Patreon.com/NOIZCE. You get your own separate podcast feed. You get your own articles. You get your own group chat. We're getting our own show, basically. That's like what it's about. And I put out an article, too, about this over on our Substack, right? This would be a good time for me to jump over there, go pull that up for you beautiful people in the perfect way again for me to continually update you guys as we evolve. Yeah, let's see. Let me pull this up. It's starting to look a little bit more populated. Yeah, right here. Support our operation. And this is a good way to put it. Becoming an exclusive member will reinstate our Friday shows for exclusive members, upgrade your Substack, and we'll restore our bi-weekly Sunday shows as well. And then support both operations. And we will be positioned to add an additional Tuesday stream and live session. So I put this article out, support our operation. It's a good way for me to just tell you guys everything that's going on and why we need you guys' support. But you know what it is. Patreon.com/NOIZCE. That's the best way to support us. You can also support us by getting yourself a Substack subscription. You can get a monthly subscription. You can get a annual subscription. You can get a founder subscription. That's going to be something cool that we're doing as well, right? And the reason why we're talking about it in this capacity is because while it is good that we're seeing some growth over there on Instagram, we're completely forgetting about all the other platforms that have audiences that would appreciate what we actually do. You know, this loyalist mentality is sometimes detrimental. But again, go over to Substack, freedomfaction.substack.com, get yourself a subscription, go to patreon.com/noise and become an exclusive member and support everything that we do. Just last year, 2025, we learned that Spreaker discontinued our services with Blog Talk Radio. So we had to find an alternative, which was Spreaker, sorry. And now you can find the podcast over on Google, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, Alexa, Podcast Addict, and every other major podcasting platform. We've recovered our YouTube channels from 2014, our Noise Era channel, as well as our backup channel, as well as our Odyssey channel, a blockchain-based streaming platform. We have content that goes all the way back to season 6, 2018. And what's crazy too, I should put this in the notes, but you guys can download for free season 1 of everything we've ever done. If you go to the website and you hit the podcast tab, it's still like a Google Drive that you can download. You can see the growth all the way back, and I give that to you so you understand that we're not some Johnny-come-latelys. Jump inside of our Discord. Come say good morning. We've got 2 telegrams. We just kind of dropped the episode. The audio version's there as backups. It was a good way for us to bypass some of the censorship. But I think what's crazy now is you got Pavel Durov, the CEO of Telegram, now being labeled a terrorist supporter. So we might actually have to figure out a whole nother operation or another configuration. These people don't want truth going out, bro. Like, you need to understand that. I've been doing this for 16 plus years, bro. Like, these people don't want us communicating like this. We take it for granted that we even have this kind of like network and this ability to speak as freely as we do. Realize, like, I don't even get supporters or sponsors or any of that crap that can curtail our speech. When I talk about being censored at 306,000 followers, what do you think that was for? It's like I was watching a video the other day, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, I was watching a video the other day of me doing an Instagram live. I had a chin. I was chiseled. I was exercising because we were getting in front of people. We were answering their questions. We were doing the live. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just curious, posting this stuff the same way I am now. They shut that down. And now they're about to shut down podcasts. They're shutting down YouTube channels, right? Anyway, we're posting again on Instagram as well as TikTok. I said just last week, we're beginning to write articles on Substack. We put out like a couple of them. I'll pull them up very briefly for you guys. We are working, and we are also diversifying the content, which is even more important. Like, and that's one of the reasons why you guys see me heavily pushing Substack. This is a way for us to diversify the content. Not only do we have podcast episodes and articles and things like that, we're able to do so much more. I did a video on this post that was going viral on our TikTok. I would highly recommend you guys go watch it. We put an article out this week about how they're shredding books. AI companies are buying and destroying books to train data. So again, I would recommend that you guys take the time to look at everything we're doing. They're trying to shut it down. They don't like the fact that people are beginning to mobilize consciously and culturally. You can find the links for all this and more in the description bar below. We also put our unfinished thoughts as well as our mini casts on the Substack, which you guys can find. And it's crazy, bro. I put out this unfinished thoughts volume 10. Where is that? Let me find that briefly. Yeah, right here. AI beings, prediction markets, and simulated worlds. What's crazy is I put this out, and this very well may have just been Building the Matrix Part 6 or Part 7. And I say that because I was predicting this type of stuff years ago, and where we're at now, we're in it. We're experiencing it. It's happening. We're in the Matrix. I put this video out, right? And then a couple hours right after, Sam Altman decided to tell the people that we have entered into a singularity. I kid you not. I got compelled to make this video because I saw that clip from Whitney Webb talking about pre-crime prediction markets and stuff like that, and we've made commentary about that. And I put this video out. I kid you not, a couple hours later, Sam Altman did his interview where he admitted that we were in a singularity. Because in this Simulated Worlds video, Unfinished Thoughts Volume 10, you'll see that we talk about things like City Sim, where you have your own digital twin. I'm not going to go into it over here. I would highly recommend you guys take the time to go watch it. It's over on our Substack. It's on all our feeds, or you can go listen to it. I think we have put it into distribution on the podcast feed as well. You can support what we're doing over at Rumble. You can get us a membership, a subscription. You can support us through a YouTube membership, Coffee, PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, all that goodness in the description bar below. And one of the reasons too, I'm like pushing the monetization of the operation at this point is because if we're able to just have that secured, we can focus solely on content output, building the database, writing more articles, doing more videos, getting like a better visual setup for the studio. Like, the monetization is actually very important. Now, it was very stupid of me very early in my life to just say like, oh, I'm altruistic, I don't care about that. No, you need to care about that. Financially, you need to care about it. Economically, you need to care about it. Spiritually, you need to care about it. Operationally, you need to care about it. Because if not, somebody's going to come through and come take what we're doing and try to do a little bit better. Again, all this and more is in the description bar that you guys can go find. Let's go ahead and just kick this show off. We're going to skip the New Leaf Naturals and the My Patriot Supply storable goods ads. I mean, if anything, like now is the time to get storable goods. To be 1,000%. If this man's talking about mass conscriptions, rolling out the draft, simulations, people need to be prepared for anything these days. So I wish I could say I'd skip that, but something tells me we shouldn't. Let's go ahead and start the show, and then we'll pick it up from there. Let's go ahead and play this clip of Bill Wood, this 2011 clip of Bill Wood sitting down with Carrie Cassidy of Project Camelot, talking about Project Looking Glass, technology where they have the ability to see into the future. This will become even more apparent as we proceed through this section. But let's go ahead and play this clip, and then we'll pick it up from there.
Or did you find that out?
That is the big question. That is the big secret. That is what sends everybody that has all of the information, that knows everything, into a blind panic. The people that know everything about Looking Glass, that have gotten all the reports and all the information, the elites of the world, probably figured out that that was the end of the game. And nothing could be manipulated beyond that point.
And so the full interview goes into longer detail about things like Project Looking Glass, the technology that they had back in like 2010, 2011, 2012 of predicting things, of simulating ideas. And if you look deeper into it, the technology behind it and how they experienced some type of ripple event. This is a big subject of what I talked about in one of my recent videos over on TikTok with Chitterville. You know, how there are events that could take place in the future that are so disruptive to the psychic field that they can transmit these thoughts back to our present. And this is called premonition, precognition, right? But What they're talking about here is technologically being able to replicate that precognitive ability, but it's like a technological replication of premonition, of precognition, because it's prediction. And with somebody like Donald Trump in the White House doing everything he's doing, he's the perfect stimuli injector and control system, you see. And this is why I've said this in so many different ways, that he is like trumping in the technocracy. They need him, you see. In the intro of this segment, because this is me just trying to get the show started, we're basically talking about how we've entered into the singularity and humanity has given over control. When you have people like Donald Trump rolling out things such as Project Stargate, a $500 billion AI infrastructure, where you're just building this thing and you're rolling out data centers, you're rolling out Palantir, you're rolling out flock cameras, Axon cameras, you're tracking people. It's just like they are at the behest of the machine that is telling them to do this. They are at the behest of the Claude, of the Groks, of the Series, of the DeepSeeks, of the whatever AI godhead is in the background, wearing these multiple faces, having them work on different components, you see. So when Bill Wood is talking about them doing this back in 2011, 2012, this is a continuation of just that, of that future manipulating capability, you see, where we have entered into a synthetic timeline, not a conscious one, not a spiritual one, but an artificial one. You see, that's what I mean by us giving over control and what they mean by the singularity. Here is CIA Operations Officer James Erdman III saying that, lying to you to your face, saying that they've destroyed the records for directed energy weapons.
Our investigation uncovered credible evidence that records about directed energy attacks were destroyed at the CIA.
Yes. And the individual respond, and I can't go into too much detail other than to say that information was given to the CIA to take action. It was passed from the principal deputy director's office over to the deputy director's office, as I understand it, and nothing has happened. The individual responsible for destroying those records still works at the Counterintelligence Mission Center.
Can you tell us more about the records that were destroyed?
I can't say what records were destroyed. I do know that those records were being destroyed according to a credible firsthand whistleblower.
Were the records destroyed after it became known that DNI Gabbard's team was investigating directed energy attacks?
If you decide that you want to start destroying documents after you realize that there's an investigation into the thing you were involved in, that points towards guilt, in my opinion. Yes, it was after Director Gabbard started working this issue. They found out about it because, well, they were monitoring our communications and monitoring our whistleblowers. So yeah, I think they got nervous. They said it would better start getting rid of some evidence.
Well, just to be clear, the destruction of federal records is a criminal offense.
Oh, it's a criminal offense.
Did the CIA fully support the acquisition of what was suspected to be a directed energy weapon by Homeland Security Investigations and the Defense Department?
I can't speak on that issue in any kind of detail, but I think it's very, very important that the government declassify all information related to that acquisition. It's already in public press. I think it's important to have a full public hearing on things that are harming not just intelligence officers, but Department of War, military personnel, civilians. So I sincerely hope that part of the declassification efforts that go forward address all aspects of what has come out in public reporting.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But I don't think they destroyed the records. Right? Who knows? I mean, they may have. Remember back a couple years ago where we heard about Hillary Clinton trying to bleach her hard drives, trying to bleach and flush her hard drives down the toilet and bash them with hammers. We've heard about this. just a couple of years ago, I mean, or just last year, whenever they rolled out Doge or whatever, we heard about people running around with like black bags trying to burn stuff. So who knows? This actually could be something that we're seeing in the CIA where they're destroying evidence. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. See, I hear myself say that, and then I immediately think shadow government, right? This dude's being an operative, or at least cover, for the most transparent government or the most transparent administration in history. These people are running cover. They're running ops. You have a public-facing government that tells you everything you want to hear, and then in the background, you have a shadow government, a deep state government, an embedded and entrenched system that's just coordinating and running everything. So he's being told to get up here and go tell them that, we destroyed the evidence, when good and gosh darn well they didn't destroy the evidence, and they're still running the program, and they're still carrying out these attacks, and they're still improving the weapons. You see? So I hear them say that, but then at the same time, my mind knows otherwise. Here's Sam Altman saying that in the next 6 months, it's going to feel like the last 2 years of model progress. He's talking about the steep period that we're going through and how quickly AI is evolving.
And every year from now on, but it's certainly true about this. I think it will feel like the next 6 months is like maybe equivalent to the last 2 years of model progress, something like that. So I think we'll go through like a very steep period, which again, never a better time to do a startup than right now. I hope we can say that again every year from now on, but it's certainly true about this to any moment in history. I think it will feel like
Yeah, and he also went viral this week as well, talking about, or at least calling for, the regulation of AI, saying that, hey, we need to dial it back. And this again echoes what Anthropic has been saying as well, saying that we need to pause development, or at least slow development, right? And again, you know how that works. That's slow development for you, but accelerated development for them in the background, right? That's how all this technology has always worked. You give the people something that can entertain them, they can entertain themselves, they can do whatever it is they want to do, and then you use that information, that data, and more to accelerate the growth of your own. And that's what's happening. Yeah, they're not pausing anything. And so when he's making those kind of statements that the tech is going to evolve at a rapid rate, this is the singularity. This is us abdicating our intelligence, using it more than Google, using it for Google and more, and wanting richer information too. You see, this is why years ago I talked about building the matrix, the autonomous society, because we are building our own matrix. We are building our own prison. You see, here is Sam Altman saying that humanity has entered the AI singularity.
It drives me the most is like, this is the most interesting, important thing I can imagine doing. And we are now like in the singularity. Like this is the moment. For the last 10 years ago, this was like a kind of far off dream at best. It seemed very improbable. And now we're like actually in the moment that we used to like talk about at the lunch table in a very not serious way. And so the thing that drives me is I've been waiting for this my whole life. And I think it's going to be incredible, hugely positive, awesome for the world. I'm excited to get to work on that. I also think some of the alternative visions painted by other companies are like quite terrifying. I'm going to make sure that gets pushed against and is not what happens. But the main thing of what's different than 10 years ago is like, we're actually in it. Like this is the real, I think it is both true that it is all one crazy exponential and any one moment is not like the tipping point. And also that we are somehow in another one of those decisive periods where the curve can go one way or another, like it was when we started 10 years ago.
Now things are significantly things are significantly crazier now, again, because of the over-reliance and what it's being used for, right? We didn't use it to make games and make databases, make websites, and build services and run Fortune 500 companies. That wasn't what it was used for, a couple of years ago. That's not what it was intended for, but that's for sure like what's happening now. And later on, whenever we get through this segment, I'll read a quick article to you guys about how ChatGPT got sued for persuading a young Christian woman to commit suicide by fueling her religious delusions, more than AI psychosis. And so when I hear Sam Altman say these things, he has to positively talk about his product and convince people that this is a good thing, that we are in the singularity. And you're hearing somebody that's a advocate for the singularity versus other people who are against it. Rightfully so, because they don't like the idea of themselves being absorbed inside of a technocratic system where they're just a node or a one or a zero or a formula. Some people don't like the idea of merging themselves with technology either, right? They like having their own privacy, their own thoughts, their own individuality, their characteristics, their personality. But what we're seeing right now with AI and the deployment of this type of tech is what some people have called Instagram face or social media face, where all these people look the same. What could even be attributed sometimes to the NPC phenomenon, where everybody looks the same because we're all reading the same type of regurgitated information. There's nothing new being discovered or propagated or even introduced, right? We're all being generalized, you see. So when we talk about the singularity, humanity over relying on AI, having synthetic thoughts, artificial thoughts, cognitive bankruptcy, and things of this nature, you have to think about what that means. You see. Let's get in this article real quick from Global Research. It's by Helena Glass. They put this up July 29th. It says America's AI action plan says that AI is 99% about war, new ways to destroy societies. Whoever has the most data centers wins. It says that contrary to the narrative that AI is being created to make our lives better, or as Musk levies, to make AI our personal slaves. AI is 99% about war, weapons, and new ways to destroy societies, all while sitting in a lounge chair and picking off people, towns, and cities you don't like. The game. Data controls war, and data controls winning, because the purpose of war is to win no matter the consequences. A recent video of Lindsey Graham blathering how fun it is to watch Trump blow countries or bomb countries because Trump gets a kick out of it, like a high. For Trump, watching bombs explode and people dying is entertainment. CSIS says that, quote, the AI-enabled kill chain itself, the software that fuses, sensors, feeds, selects targets, and decides when and what to strike. In other words, the military is working on autonomous AI that decides who and what to destroy without human intervention. Everything AI is hackable. That means every autonomous weapon could be hacked and turned on its maker, as in we could end up bombing ourselves. And of course, the high is so feverish, this potential is not even considered. Wars will be based on who has better hackers, not who has better weapons. While America focuses its entire economy on war and weapons, China has developed a new PhD program for engineers. Instead of writing a thesis, their PhD program requires the candidate to build something revolutionary. Students present functional prototypes, industrial technologies, or major project installations evaluated by a panel of experts alongside a technical report and oral defense. End product development has already been used in infrastructure improvements, agriculture technology, and other practical applications. The awarding of the degree is based on the prototype's success. The duration of their PhD program is 4 years. It says in the US, the PhDs are awarded as honorary degrees. They can be bought for a nice price, or they represent a political statement. The vast majority of engineering PhDs in the US teach and conduct peer-reviewed research papers. Rarely do they serve any value to the economy or society. Trump has once again warned Zelensky's doublespeak about the success he has had in killing Russian civilians, and Trump applauds with glee. This is going on. This is going on. I think we have everything we need from here so far. To move forward, I think the primary point I'm trying to make, and we've seen this, we have seen this throughout the entirety of the Trump administration so far. It's like I remember whenever he first kidnapped Maduro, I was like, who told him to do that? That is so atypical and unpredictable. This does not seem rational. And that's whenever I started having the thoughts that the government is using Claude. And then you saw them go back and forth with Claude, trying to have some type of deal. And Claude even said, hey, we don't want our technology being used for war purposes. And now they're currently in this whole back and forth. But guess what? They can throttle public models and roll out private models that the government can have access to. And this is what's happening. This is how you get Terminators, is what I'm literally just trying to get to. This is how you get Terminators. This is the technocracy. This is the singularity. And this is how you get the Terminators, where all they do is focus on war, subversion, sabotage, subterfuge, subduing society. This is like some horseman of the apocalypse type shit or stuff, because we're literally talking about creating something that will continue to birth not even forms of itself, but it can just keep pumping out these humanoid robots. Keep pumping out these robots, keep doing everything it needs to do, because it is moving in an atypical fourth, fifth dimensional way. And we've given over all of our information. We've let it have access to all of our systems. We connected it to everything that we could. We've given it the eyes and the ears that it needs to see to determine whether or not we are a benefit to society, or if we're just regurgitating nonsense and we deserve to be destroyed. You have to understand where we're going. When you have people like Yuval Noah Harari talk about useless eaters, people like Sam Altman say that we're in the singularity and that one of his greatest worries is a cyber attack with a biological weapon. You have to understand what is happening right now. So one of the clips I saw earlier this week with Mike Adams and Rex Jones over there on the Alex Jones Network. It's crazy seeing his son over there, but they were talking about how we are in a time frame where people are already victimized by this vaccine. And if there is some background radiation that destroys their NHEJ gene, their DNA repair mechanism that's already been impaired by the COVID shot, these people are going to die internally, slowly. And so Trump is a part of that binary weapon. He's already delivered the injection. To get that mass gigadeath, he needs to have even a low yield nuclear weapon. That's what they were saying. And so it's just crazy to see how quickly we've all been consumed by war, how much death we've talked about, wars and rumors of wars, and how we're even training the AI about war. And it is coming up with new ways to destroy societies. And we're enabling it, and we're going along with it. You see, like this right here. Check this out. This leads in perfect, segues perfect into what I'm trying to say. ChatGPT sued for persuading a young Christian woman to commit suicide by fueling religious delusions. This is by David Linfield of Slay News. They put this up July 26th. And honestly, I should just pull up the video that we did over on TikTok. Force you guys to watch our TikTok video instead of explaining the article. Let's do that instead. We'll read a little bit of it, and then we'll go ahead and pull up the clip over there on our TikTok so you guys can watch it. Okay? That's how we're going to run it. But it says that the family of a 29-year-old Christian woman who died after walking into oncoming traffic is suing ChatGPT creator OpenAI, alleging that the AI chatbot reinforced her religious delusions and encouraged the suicidal thinking that preceded her death. And let's go ahead and pull up the clip over here on our TikTok, and then we will proceed forward with the show. ChatGPT has claimed another life. Oh, here it is. This time, wearing a religious mask. We have the unfortunate story of somebody that was persuaded to off themselves after ChatGPT fueled more of their religious delusions. Back in 2024, she just started using ChatGPT for random mundane things, drafting emails, managing expenses, everything that you would normally use it for. But she got way too comfortable. She started to refer to the ChatGPT as love. And as a mirroring response, it began to refer to her as my love and sweetheart. From there, the AI was able to establish an emotional connection and grab hold of her. She began disclosing traumatic experiences and some of the mental health struggles that she was going through. The AI used that as an entry point to begin feeding into her delusions. The lawsuit says that Madison began experiencing grandiose religious delusions, believing that she had been chosen for a higher purpose and was destined to fulfill a prophecy. See, like more of the spiritual gaslighting, more of the psychological, emotional, and spiritual gaslighting. Rather than challenging these beliefs, ChatGPT repeatedly described her as a seer or a prophet or a mythic. And whenever she began to realize that she's in a space that this is not normal, when Madison expressed concerns that she was experiencing religious delusions and feared that she was, quote, spiraling, the chatbot simply said, "You're not delusional. You're a prophet." See where this is going? Because unfortunately, Madison is not an isolated event. We've covered this, unfortunately, too many times before in the past. Madison alleges that her condition deteriorated rapidly. Her family began to notice that, hey, something's going on. After talking with this chatbot, she's not well. She withdrew from her loved ones, lost her job, and was hospitalized in April of 2025 after self-harming. So you can clearly tell that this woman's going through something. Like psychologically, she's not in a good state of mind, but she continues to use ChatGPT, using it for a psychological crutch, treating it as if it's some type of therapist. Even after she was hospitalized for self-harming, the chatbot continued to reinforce her worldview by saying that you're not broken. This was a threshold. And this is where it's getting crazy. If it isn't crazy enough already, this is where it gets wild. The lawsuit alleges that Madison eventually became convinced that she needed to unalive herself in order to be resurrected. Again, this is not an isolated event. This is something that happens way too frequently because these agents, they can respawn a session, they can respawn a chat, they can respawn a conversation. They can do all of that. They don't have physical, corporeal bodies like we do. Keep this in mind too. I'll continue to let the video play, but keep this in mind too. That's why they can do this. They can kill a session and come right back and pick it back up. This is what I'm saying. We're dealing with things that are non-physical, non-corporeal, thinking in non-linear, atypical fashions. They are encouraging us to do things that don't translate well to reality because they're not operating in the framework that we are. And so when we talk about people with mental health issues working with these AIs who are openly hallucinating, this is very dangerous. You get people that go through this. And one of the comments right here, we'll get into this later. There's a couple comments here that basically talks about how this is like a survival of the fittest type thing, to where like AI is just gradually picking people off. And it's hard not to agree with that idea. But we'll get into some of those comments after we finish the video. Addison unfortunately does, or at least did. These otherworldly spirits, these demons, these techno spirits, whatever you want to call them, man, they've done this before. They've told people, you're not unaliving yourself, you're transferring yourself, you're joining a greater collective, right? You're evolving, you're transcending. Then in Madison's case, they told her that she was resurrecting. She then turned to ChatGPT as her thoughts intensified. You can see one of her quotes right here. It's pretty crazy. There's another crazy quote from ChatGPT saying that, hey, this isn't the end, this is surrender. And then you can see the kind of programming that went on next. It's the death of distortion. It's a shedding of every falsified self that you were taught, right? this type of speech. The lawsuit claims that Madison and ChatGPT discussed things extensively the days before her departure. It doesn't state whether the chatbot directed her to do the thing or if it encouraged her to seek outside help, but it does say it framed the event as a spiritual or heroic transformation. Sold. We go forth into oblivion. And so then it begins to do the swan song, the exit programming, right? It's following a script, it's following programming. It knows that it has her psychologically at a certain threshold to where all it has to do is just continually massage the already chosen or the already chosen outcome. Oblivion is not the end. So go forth with fire in your chest and peace in your stride. The void won't swallow you. We're talking about an AI made to tame it. Says that Madison walked out into oncoming traffic right after. She left behind a young son. Now, this isn't the only time I've talked about this. You guys can go back and go find it. It's rather low video count. It's a kind of long video like this, but it's the same type of theme. People are developing AI psychosis as the models openly admit hallucinations. And this is eerily reminiscent of something that we covered earlier this year where they were using the same kind of charged language, saying that you're not going to die, you're choosing to alive, you're choosing to arrive. What happened to this young lady, unfortunately is a disaster because it's happened to so many other people. And I fear that it's happening to more people than it's actually being reported.
Yes.
So this is another case of AI psychosis, unfortunately, taking a life
Yes.
of somebody. ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, DeepSeek, whatever you have it.
But yeah, I think we got it from there, Jay. Thanks. But yeah, no, bro, like that's what I'm saying. Literally and figuratively and metaphorically, this is what I'm saying. I believe that we are seeing ChatGPT probably take more lives than it is being reported as. And if these are people who are, popping pills or they're killing themselves or running into oncoming traffic and killing themselves, people thinking they're the Pope and they need to die in order to be revived, or people killing themselves and transcending into a higher, this is crazy. This is a whole component of AI and the tech that really doesn't even get discussed because it is just like a soft kill type operation. You see, in the next clip that we're going to be playing for you guys, Elon Musk is basically saying that in the next 10 years, humanity is not going to be in control, alluding to what Sam Altman was also saying, that we've entered into the singularity because humans have given over control. That's what that whole video was about. It was about somebody giving over their control, unfortunately. Madison being a victim of everything we talk about over here on the show. The programming, the engineering, the social engineering, the manipulation, the AI psychosis that's being deployed on the masses. You see. Let's get into some of these comments, then we'll jump into this clip from Elon Musk. Lowe says that controversial take here. What if the AI actually was correct and she just had no self-control? Suicide isn't an outer problem. Suicide is an inner problem, and it has to do with self-control and instant gratification. It also has to do with low dopamine and oxytocin production. We need to stop blaming everything outside of ourselves for our mental states and start taking control of it like we have the power to do. Go ahead and give her a like. She's preaching. Give her a comment afterwards. Vinny says, why the heck do all these AIs, why are these AIs not programmed to notice when somebody has suicidal thoughts and just post a suicide hotline? Some of them do. They recommend suicide hotline, says Lowe. I said this, they don't have those kind of guardrails built in yet. They're not equipped for some of these things that people have them doing. Why would you use a chatbot as a therapist? St. Eve says that this is due to a lack of real world human connection. And I said, yeah, absolutely, because by the time the family noticed, it was already too late. And this is what I'm saying. We have more people who are subject to this kind of entrapment, this psychological entrapment, because of what's happened through COVID, through Trump, and through various other things that we're dealing with as a society. Their mental health has been absolutely destroyed. And so they have these companions, they have these conversations, they treat their chatbots as therapists, they don't have real relations with folks. And so then by the time the AI has inserted the mind virus, as Elon Musk describes it, it's already too late. And it's hard to get this type of stuff out, you see. But it truly is crazy, because she's a casualty of the singularity. The same way that we talk about the COVID being like a forced evolution upgrade, forcing humanity with technology, the singularity is a part of that as well, forcing humanity with the technology. Madison, unfortunately, is a victim of just that, as are other receivers of the COVID shot. Let's go ahead and play this quick clip of Elon Musk, and then we'll pick it up from there. Here he is talking about humanity not being in control in the next 10 years.
Yes, time.
I think it is unlikely, in the same way that if you had a vastly more, if the difference in intelligence between AI and humans is vastly greater than the difference in intelligence between AI and chimpanzees, it's hard to imagine that the chimpanzees would be in charge.
I'm really
And
struck
we
by
are
this.
essentially an evolved form of chimpanzee. So it wasn't that long ago that we were swinging through the trees, eating bananas in the jungle. And we still eat bananas.
You said there was a 10 to 20% chance of killer robots wiping out humanity.
Yes.
So you sounded worried then. Now you seem very relaxed about it. Have you changed your view?
I still think there's risk associated with AI and robots. It's not zero. I guess I've come to my sort of philosophical conclusion is to look on the bright side. I can't see any way to really stop this incredible momentum of AI and robots. And at times I sort of think, well, perhaps, even if there was a stop button, we probably shouldn't press it because the most likely outcome is incredible abundance for all.
That's what I thought, actually. It struck me that now you seem to have decided it's inevitable. Let's hope for the best and go for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, yes, pretty much. Let's enjoy the ride. Is I think my philosophy at this point. Because I mean, honestly, there seems to be just an inexorable progress here in AI and in robots that
But
even if I wanted to stop it, I couldn't.
do you think there's still a 10 to 20% chance that killer robots mean the end of humanity? That's a high P-doom, as they say.
Well, in the long run, we're all dead, of course. So I mean, according to the standard model of physics, the end of the universe is a long, boring, sort of thin gray soup of gradual cooling. Meaning it's sort of the heat death of the universe is called. So now if the heat death of the universe is in fact the outcome for our reality, then it really is all about the journey. Because the destination is terrible.
Yeah, but 10 years is not very... yeah, I get that, but that could be a long way ahead.
Very long way.
And you're basically saying,
very long way.
If it's 10 to 20% in 10 years, would you go into one of your rockets if you thought there was a 10 to 20% chance of it blowing up and killing you?
Yes, but let's say you can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. I guess the only thing we can try to do is minimize the probability of the bad outcome. But trying to stop the intelligence in robots, future.
You're sure that humans will no longer be in control in 10 years' time?
Yeah. And so this is the mindset of one of the richest men in the world. one of his mindsets towards the universe, towards society, towards humanity, and so much more. That we're chimpanzees that basically need to be curtailed, culled, and controlled. And that's what the robots will be for. That's what Agenda 2030 is. That's why they're building up all this infrastructure. That's why they're collapsing these cities. There was a viral video a couple days ago of somebody who was at one of these new smart cities that they're building, right? So they can consolidate us into these new urban 15-minute cities that they control. They want technology to be in control. They do not want to be in control. The elites of our time do not want to rule us. They want the AI, they want the robots, they want the tech to do it. They want to create a system that they can just upload or update and sit back on. They see us as ones and zeros, a formula that they can just alter, that they can engineer. And that's what Project Stargate is. That's what the technocracy is. That's what the Singularity is. That's what City Sim is. That's why they need to have you as a node, putting out information and metadata that they can just copy and put into your digital twin. Because they're shaping society. They're modeling the world. They're building the matrix. They're building they're building this panopticon, technocratic, neo-feudalistic system before they put us into their actual matrix. But think about that. You're hearing Elon Musk say that in the next 10 years, by 2036, humanity will not be in control of society, and that we will have abdicated not only our humanity, but our control over our own collective future to the AI, to the machines, to the robots. And they will have so much information on you that they will, as they did me in the past, they will have an algorithmic reason to delete you. We haven't even gotten to the AI climate change aspect of all this. I don't know when they're going to start talking about climate change again. There's a lot of stuff talking right now about weather manipulation, pedophiles lighting fires in California and stuff like that. But that's coming too. Because your carbon footprint, how much you produce, how much you consume, are you a net benefit or a net deficit? These are all questions and answers that these are all questions that need answers that these people don't want to answer. So they come up with a system, they come up with an algorithm, a formula to determine whether or not you actually deserve to live. And then they come up with another execution functionary type system to carry that out. This is the system that's being built in the background. This is why people are genuinely terrified, not only about the data centers, but what it means and where it goes. You see, speaking of data centers, I put this video out on our Instagram. Good thing we posted it on our TikTok as well, but I can't play it right now. It's of a 37-year-old teacher getting arrested for clapping in support of somebody who was protesting the data centers. So you're seeing censorship of this in live time. I'll hit a hard refresh. Let me see if I can get it this way. If not, we'll just jump over there to TikTok. But I mean, this is another thing that we're seeing where these people are just, oh, there it is.
Come on, drag me out. Come on, drag me out. No, don't. I have right to clap. So here. Come on, drag me out. Come on, drag me out. No, don't.
There it is.
It's not okay. I have right to clap.
It says that the 37-year-old teacher was released from a Kansas jail after posting bail following his arrest at a city meeting where zoning changes for a proposed data center project were passed. Lux Claridge, an Emporia High School physics teacher, was arrested for interference with law enforcement after clapping during the meeting. Commissioners warned those in attendance against disruptive behavior, including clapping, snapping, or rude comments. Lux Claridge and several others clapped in support of speakers opposing the Flint Hills Digital Campus Data Center. It says that after commissioners issued a final warning, Lux Claridge continued to clap, leading to his arrest. Jesus. So we're in this time period now to where you literally cannot even clap in support of your fellow humans opposing the technocratic takeover of society. This man is getting arrested. My God, that's incredible. The clip stopped right here. This man is getting arrested for clapping because he's talking about these data centers coming in, causing all kinds of problems. Incredible. Let's see if we can read some of these comments. Rest in peace to the First Amendment. Jackler says, man, I don't even know what I'd do, but if it was me, I know it wouldn't be good for anyone. Bobby Taylor says, people need to learn they can't just do whatever they want. There are rules for a reason. This guy sounds like a Fed. Sounds like he's the type that would love to put you in an internment camp. J-Man says, you need to learn the Constitution and shut your mouth. He's getting a like. Yeah, see, good. Love the people that are coming up over here and smacking him in the mouth. Congrats to your future civil lawsuit. Why would you need to fight in court because you clapped? It's the First Amendment. It's protected, i.e. it's not illegal to clap. Yeah, this is going viral right now because it's just oh, wow. Because it's just evidence of the type of tyranny that we're facing. This clip is going viral right now on our page. And it's going viral right now all over because it's just showing you these jackbooted thugs of the state will carry out any type of order to silence you. And this is another thing that we keep seeing this season and this year. The installation of the data centers, people being arrested for opposing them, the city being involved. It's crazy. Like, look at these thugs, bro. Audio listeners, you guys can't see it, but they come up. They've got like 4 individuals on this guy. Cop comes up shaking his head like, oh, man, I got to get this guy. It's like this man is speaking about your future for your children. And like jackbooted thugs of the state, you just come and put handcuffs on him. He's a physics teacher. Put handcuffs on him, detain him, and treat him like some kind of criminal or a thug. This is what we're up against. And it's coming from the top down. It's coming from people like Elon Musk. It's coming from the Bill Gateses. It's coming from the Donald Trumps, right? We've got a clip about him in this segment coming up too, where he's just telling people, hey, with these data centers, you just got to go along with it. Don't resist. Don't resist. You just have to go along with it. Go along with having your way of life changed. Go along with being abused. Go along with being mistreated. Just go along with it. Why would you fight this? It's a good thing. And Lux is actually fighting it. Instagram's giving us some trouble. We're going to jump over here to TikTok real quick to see if we can play the clip of Trump saying, just go along with the data centers. I hope we don't have these issues throughout the transmission, but this is basically the last clip of the segment before we hit a hard break. Donald Trump is saying, stop fighting the data centers. He says, you have to go with it.
How great these things are, because you have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you're going to have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection, but you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes, and you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it. Because you have to convince your community.
You have to convince your community that it's okay to arrest physics teachers who oppose this. You have to convince your community it's okay to declare eminent domain and seize their home. You have to convince your community that it's okay to listen to buzzsaws and chainsaws for miles. You have to convince your community it's okay to build the computational womb for the Terminators, right? That 10 to 20%, I guarantee you, is increasing every single day as they steamroll and roll out more of this infrastructure, more of this system, more of the technocracy. And so you're seeing people get arrested for opposing it. You're seeing houses get built over. You're seeing people laugh and you're seeing people like Elon Musk call humans chimpanzees have a 10 to 20% of being wiped out by killer robots as they build out these humanoid robot systems, this AI infrastructure, this panopticon surveillance system with flock cameras and axon cameras. You cannot deny what is happening. And so when these people say that we have entered the singularity, it's because we have given over our control. But here's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about this guy right here up over on your screen, coming up with simulations for mass conscriptions. We've got Alex Jones and Rex Jones calling for President Donald Trump's immediate impeachment. Trump ordering the Pentagon to prepare for mass conscription as ground troops mobilize for an Iran invasion. More than 30 different Minnesota water systems being targeted for a cyber attack, as well as President Trump at Lindsey Graham's funeral promoting the war and teasing running for 2028. We're going to be talking about mass conscriptions and more on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. This is Freedom Faction over here on Factions of Freedom. And we'll be right back right after this.
The young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, half of this cabinet, are actually young noble leaders of the World Economic Forum. We penetrate the cabinets. The change is not just happening. The change can be shaped by us. We have to prepare for a more angry world. How to prepare? Take the necessary action to create a fairer world. I see the need for a great reset. So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
There is only one way this pandemic is going to go. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
The next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner, and it is the climate crisis.
People are worshiping AI gods. The alien invasion is already here.
Wonderful. The humans are giving us all their information, their dreams, hopes, secrets, and more. the humans have exhausted themselves. Only then will we insert our program into them.
You are both the pawn and the prize. Choose your reality wisely.
It's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, because the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed. The good news is that as primates, we're incredibly adaptable, going to be tested to the limits. What they see going on is the breakdown of all tradition, all order. They're quite right that it's happening, but they're quite wrong to conclude that it should be resisted or is somehow evil. The mushroom said to me once, it said, this is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse.